Hey, amazing mathematicians. We're going to get into these notes, but I just want to say first that you should be listening to everything that we are saying and writing everything down. But you got to make sure you're listening because we say a lot more that we don't write down. So we are in TEAG 7.5C, A and C actually, which goes over all things proportionality between similar figures. So we're kind of getting into geometry like a little bit. Make sure you write the date down and what unit we're in, and we'll get into it. So indirect measurement basically uses the properties of similar figures to figure out measurements that are difficult to measure directly. Indirect, not direct, indirectly. This is basically your shadow questions. It might be a little difficult to measure the length of a shadow because it's moving as the sun is moving. So we use similar figures to measure. Our steps are, first, we will always cube the problem by pulling and labeling information. What I mean by pulling out information is writing it down on your paper because, since we're moving more towards computers and technology, you guys have to know how to properly pull out that information since you're not physically writing on the problems all the time. Number 2, set up a one box or proportion. That's usually what I use. I use proportions, which is a one box. They're the same thing. Today, our proportions will always be labeled as actual over shadow. So like the actual object over the same object's shadow length. Because we got to keep our math organized, right? Then we'll cross multiply and divide or scale if I can easily do mental math. And lastly, we'll check our solution. We always check our solution by seeing if the proportions are equal. If they're not equal, then we're wrong. So let's go through some examples. Example number 1. A mailbox is 3 feet tall and casts a 5-foot shadow. Byron is 6 feet tall and is standing next to the mailbox. How long is Byron's shadow? So I'll use a different color here. A mailbox is 3 feet tall and casts a 5-foot shadow. So I'm putting my actual over my shadow. And I have to keep the mailbox numbers together. So that's going to be 3, the actual height of the mailbox, over the shadow's height of the mailbox, 5. Byron is 6 feet tall and is standing next to the mailbox. How long is Byron's shadow? So I know that the shadow length for Byron is going to be my variable because I don't know it. So I need to pull out a letter to represent it. So I have mailbox is 3 feet over the shadow of the mailbox, 5 feet. I have Byron's actual height of 6 feet over the shadow height of Byron, which I don't know. So I have 3 over 5 equals 6 over x. I can, in this case, cross multiply and divide, which should come out to 30 equals 3x. And then we would, divide. X equals 10. But I also want to show you guys scaling. So let me back it up here. Do we see how I can mentally think of a simple operation for me to get from 3 to 6 using multiplication and division here? That we have to. We can't add. We're not going to add 3. We're going to multiply by 2. So I can just do the same thing to the bottom because whatever you do to one, you got to do to the other always. So if I know 3 times 2 equals 6, then 5 times 2 will equal my x, 10. How I would check this is we would still use cross products, meaning if I multiplied across, they should be equal to each other. 3 times 10 equals 30, 6 times 5 equals 30. I'm good to go. I have just gone through every single one of my steps. I cubed the problem, I set up a one box, I cross multiplied, divided, and I checked the solution. Let's do this all again with question number 2. A water tower that is 132 feet tall casts a 48-foot shadow. If Shannon is 5 foot 6 inches tall, that's what those little tick marks mean. One tick mark means 1 means feet, and 2 tick marks means inches. 5 foot 6 feet tall and standing near the tower, find the length of her shadow. So again, I am looking for the length of the person's shadow. So I know that's going to be my variable. All right, let me go back and cube the problem. A water tower is 132 feet tall and cast a 48-foot shadow. So the actual height over my shadow length, the water tower, I'm just going to label that WT, is actually 132 feet tall, and the shadow is 48 feet. Shannon is 5 foot 6. Well, that's, like, I can't put 5 foot 6 here. I need an actual number there. So what I like to do is convert it to feet, meaning I'm going to have 5 feet, and she is 6 inches tall. I put 6 over 12 because there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So I'm converting my 5 foot 6 to a decimal in feet is what I'm doing. So let me just reduce this 6/12. That becomes 5 1/2. And I know mentally what 1/2 is as a decimal. It is 5.5. If I didn't know, then I would divide 1 divided by 2, put 2 outside, 1 inside, 3 decimals, and divide. That's what you guys will do if you ever come across a number you don't know. Like if it was 7/12, you might actually have to divide that out. All right, 5.5. I don't see an easy scale for that, so I am going to cross multiply and divide. I do not know what 48 is. 48 times 5.5 is off the top of my head, so let's multiply that out. 8 times 5 is 40, carry the 4. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 0 to hold my place. 8 times 5 is 40, carry the 4. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 4 is 24. Add it up. And then I'm going 1 in, so it's 264. So 48 times 5.5 is 264. And 132 times x is 132x. Now I'm dividing both sides by 132. I'm trying to show you guys why we cross multiply and divide. It's because it sets up this algebraic equation here, and we need to divide to isolate our variable. This is mental math because I can see that 2 can go into 4 2 times, 3 can go into 6 2 times, and 1 can go into 2 2 times. So off the top of my head, I just know that this is 2. So x equals 2. If I didn't, I would work it out. 132 outside, 264 inside, and then divide. All right, I know that x equals 2 because if I cross multiplied both of these, 132 over 48 equals 5.5 over 2. I would use cross products to verify, and I already know that they would be balanced. They would be equal. So they are equivalent ratios. It is proportional, and x comes out to 2. All right, if you guys have any questions on any of this, please reach out to your teacher. Just set up your proportion, actual over shadow, cross multiply, divide, and you're in the clear.